858-HAIR to learn more. That's 1-800-858-HAIR. Or just visit hairman.com.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Hey, it's Brendan from Cape Gunworks. Are you looking for a new firearm or maybe some range time? Then come on down to Cape Gunworks in Hyannis. We have a brand new 20,000 square foot facility with a huge pro shop with hundreds of modern firearms and accessories. Plus, we buy and sell unique and collectible guns. If you're looking for range time, we've got 15 brand new state-of-the-art lanes open to the public. Don't have a firearm? Don't worry. We've got plenty of pistol and rifles for you to rent. Exercise your Second Amendment rights at Cape Gunworks in Hyannis and at capegunworks.com.
It's a common phrase, better safe than sorry. Of course, sometimes you need an actual safe to be safe, and you'll find the best at Dependable Lock Service in Nashua and Liberty Safe of New Hampshire in Northampton. Both locations carry Liberty Safes, and you'll be safe when you keep your guns and other valuables in the safe made with the best materials and craftsmanship here in the USA. Visit your Liberty Safe dealer located in Nashua or Northampton, New Hampshire, or online at libertysafenewhampshire.com to find the right safe for you. Have you noticed your parents are becoming hard of hearing and keep saying, "What did you say?" Are you experiencing hearing loss? Hearing Help Express can help with FDA-registered hearing aids. Go to hearinghelp.com and use promo code Howie to get FDA-registered hearing aids for $75 down and $50 a month. Stop missing out on conversations and start hearing again. Go to hearinghelp.com and use promo code Howie to get FDA-registered hearing aids for $75 down and $50 a month.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go.
Fast Start Diet works. Get yours on Amazon or faststartdiet.com. Use promo code HowieSave. That's HowieSave for 10% off your first box. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Biden might be the frontrunner for the Democrats, but that isn't stopping him from serving up a whole lot of gaffes. Take a listen.
I believe that the president is literally an existential threat to America for 3 reasons. One, he is a genuine threat to our... I had permission to hug Lonnie. He says, let's make America great again. Let's make America America again. I think I'm either low IQ or slow, or I don't know what I am. Slow Joe Biden. Thanks for the Mary, and I'm going to be here a lot. I want the press to know she pulled me close. I just want you to know, okay? President Trump inherited an economy from Obama Biden. By the way, he gave me permission to touch him. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east, in the west.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy'd out.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much. But no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history for what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Donald Trump has violated his oath of office, betrayed this nation, and committed impeachable acts. To preserve our Constitution, our democracy, our basic integrity, he should be impeached. It's no joke. He's shooting holes in the Constitution. And we cannot let him get away with it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The pressure on Trump is only going to increase. And with that pressure increases, he's only going to grow more volatile, more erratic, more self-serving, and more destructive.
You mean like this?
How is that not a conflict of interest?
It's not a conflict of interest. There's been no indication of any conflict of interest from Ukraine or anywhere else. Period. I'm not going to respond to that.
We'll make your case.
I'm not going to. Everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I would love to testify and give me a half hour to point out Biden Inc. 4 decades of crime. It's going to be easier than pointing out the 6 decades of mafia crime.
The Democrats know they can't win in 2020. They've already, through this whole hoax, knocked out their number one candidate, which was Joe Biden. They've literally taken out their front runner.
Unchained and unstoppable.
So maybe there does need to be a rematch. Obviously, I can beat him again.
I must confess that I was dumb. In the last month or two, just was more fatigued. And I should have listened to those symptoms.
Can you tell us, Senator, if we'll be seeing you publicly before the debate?
Yeah, I think you will. You're seeing me now.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Talk about projection. Joe Biden is claiming that Trump must be impeached because he wants to investigate the crimes that Joe Biden committed. I mean, you talk about double standards here. Did it ever occur to Biden that maybe it is better to remain silent and be thought a fool, in this case, a corrupt fool, than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt? I mean, this is amazing. I don't want to get into like a lengthy discussion of the impeachment fandango. That's the word I've been using, fandango, because it is tedious. It's become tedious. I've been a spectator, a voter in 2 impeachments now in my lifetime. The Nixon impeachment in 1973-74, and then the Clinton impeachment in 98-99. And those impeachments were very interesting. There were crimes that were committed. I mean, the Clinton crimes were much more serious than the Nixon crimes. But in both cases, there were high crimes and misdemeanors. In this third case, this is the old saying about, history repeats itself, first as tragedy, then as farce. I mean, this is like beyond farce. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. It's an investigation of somebody else's crimes. And they're trying to get rid of a president of the United States over it. It's preposterous. So we're not going to. I'm not going to. We'll keep talking about it. We got that Joe DeGenevieve going to be on, and we're going to have through the course of the afternoon, and Louis Gohmert, the congressman from Texas, he's the one who repeatedly asked Bob Mueller if they had, under oath, when they had him on before the House panel, under oath, had he been applying for the job of FBI director, and Mueller, befuddled as Joe Biden-like as he was, in his answers, did say repeatedly that he was not discussing the job of FBI director. What the hell was he doing in there in the Oval Office then, to begin with? So he definitely lied. And I guess the only question is, are they going to go after these guys? Either because it will be difficult to get a conviction in a rotten borough like the District of Columbia, where everybody's on the government payroll and thinks it's okay to go after Republicans, but not Democrats. They don't want to, or in the case of Mueller, just because the guy has obviously lost about a yard, not an inch. He's lost a yard off his fastball. He's throwing junk up there to the plate. It's not even, and it's bouncing in front of the plate. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon. And Jay from Chelsea says, Matt Lauer, I never did like your old saw. There's no such thing as bad publicity. There's an exception to everything, Jay. And in this case, you're right. But it wasn't like Matt Lauer was on the comeback trail, and this Ronan Farrow book has derailed it. I mean, he was never coming back. But, the thing is, he is now, Matt Lauer has now issued a statement in response to the new allegations in Ronan Farrow's book, Catch and Kill. And it's something like I've never seen before. When he's talking about how his first time having sex with this woman who now claims that she raped him. And he goes into the graphic details of the sex. I thought about making this the poll question. Do you believe it? But it's too gross to even get into. But we will we will get into we'll get into that with Grace. Grace wants to handle Matt Lauer. I'm really starting to again, I'm embarrassed to have taught at Boston University now that AOC is out running around. What did Joe DeGenova call her last night? Is something about an ignoramus?
AOC, the incandescent ignoramus.
How brilliantly put. Incandescent ignoramus. I'm embarrassed by that, but I'm starting to get embarrassed by having worked at, I mean, again, Channel 7 in Boston is Channel 7, right? I mean, it's reality, what it is. I mean, Bill O'Reilly worked there. I like Bill O'Reilly. He's had some problems, okay? Now Matt Lauer worked there. He's had many, many more problems.
Is there going to be a shoe drop coming for you, Howie?
No, there isn't. No, there isn't.
Glad to hear that.
There's a guy named Gary Grant. Gary Grant. He left Channel 7. And
his name is Gary Grant?
Gary Grant. And then he moved to San Antonio, and he went to prison for kiddie porn, a federal rap. Then there was Jeff Dedarian. He was the owner of the nightclub in Rhode Island where 100 people were killed in the fire. There have been a lot of problems involving people who worked at Channel 7. And again, I am not one of those people. You can trust me. I'm not like the others. I am the exception that proves the rule that not every. There were people who got arrested for shoplifting. There was a guy who got stabbed down in the Fens. Bob Two Beer Gamir. He went to the can too, and this is just one of those things. I mean, hey, I lived in Somerville too.
Usually after 2 beers, I have to go to the can too.
Gamir was a brilliant sports broadcaster. I'll tell you that. I've seen the guy when we both worked at Channel 56. I've seen him walk in on a Sunday night, and all he had, and you know how it is when you're doing a sports cast, you're doing all the games. You're summing up all the games. You gotta speak to the cuts. He would walk in with a little more of a script than something written on a wet cocktail napkin. And he could do a flawless or near flawless sportscast with all the games. And I think he was the third guy in the Yankees broadcast booth at the age of about 24 or 25 back in the 60s. He was amazingly talented. But you know what? O'Reilly was amazingly talented. In his own way, Matt Lauer was very talented. All these guys. Gary Grant, not so much. But Jeff Dedarian could do a good. He was basically a street reporter. He was good. And all these guys went down. 603. I used to see Bob Gamir picking up girls at the bar at the Marriott Long Wharf. Yeah, I spent a lot of long evenings at the Marriott Long Wharf when Rupert was buying the Herald. I was sleeping on the sofa along with other TV reporters. I had to go down to the U.S. Open at the country club in Brookline the day after Gamir got stabbed in the Fens, and do you know what it was? Do you know what it's like to be heckled? When you're with it's not fun. Hey, Howie, were you in the Fens the previous evening? I've been heckled before out reporting. There are worse things that can happen. I'm just pointing it out that's what happens sometimes. 844-500-4242. 808 says Channel 7 should have been court mandated to put saltpeter in the water coolers. Well, a lot of the trouble that people got into from Channel 7 alumni, they got into trouble after they left 7 Bullfinch Place, the Indian burial ground. You can't blame everything on Channel 7. It was just the people who worked there. That's all. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number. If you want to give us a call, we'll talk about various issues as we go through. Is Lauer still married? No, I don't believe he is married. He said he didn't want to comment on any of these cases because he didn't want the news crews out in front of out in the driveway of his outside his house. But no, I don't believe he's married anymore. I believe they've divorced. But he made some kind of weird social video media with his daughter recently. It just came out. Very, very odd. Anyway, we'll take your calls when we come back. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Car Guys. Purchasing a pre-owned car can be tricky, but not if you go through Bill Papa George. He is the absolute best in the business. Both Grace and I use the Car Guys, and recently my daughter Charlotte got a car from the Car Guys. Call 800-300-4600. That's 800-300-4600.
Best-selling novelist Mike Bond has done it again. The master of the existential thriller has a new action-packed novel, Goodbye Paris. Goodbye Paris is a non-stop, fast-paced story about terrorism, ISIS, and a special forces veterans race against the clock. The Miami Times said Goodbye Paris doesn't stop until it has delivered every possible ounce of intelligent excitement. Culture Buzz called it a rip-roaring page-turner. Get your copy of Goodbye Paris by Mike Bond. Available now on Amazon.
Hey, business owners and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England, and you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call John at 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so is your next customer. Call John, 800-227-7300 right now.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of two poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7. 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of Okie doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al-Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
This is Deb in Danielson, Connecticut.
This is Greg in Boston, Mass.
This is Elizabeth in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Perhaps most important, he believes there's nothing we can do about it. He believes he can and will get away with anything he does. We all laughed when he said he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and get away with it. It's no joke. He's shooting holes in the Constitution. And we cannot let him get away with it.
Are you kidding me? Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. This guy goes out there and he's in front of the Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, and he says, I told them they're going to lose $1 billion if they don't fire the prosecutor who just happens to be investigating this natural gas company that's got his coke-addled, just washed out of the Navy for testing positive multiple times for cocaine in his system, even though his father is the damn vice president of the United States. And he's accusing Trump of shredding the Constitution and thinking he can get away with murder on Fifth Avenue. I mean, Trump was joking. This guy was running an absolute flat-out shakedown of the government of Ukraine. I mean, how bad is this? I mean, how does Biden not understand that he was doing worse than Trump? Much worse? 844-500-4242. Jay from Chelsea says, stand tall, Jeff Dedarian, stand tall. See, Jeff is not a man of
vertically challenged?
He's not a man of great stature. He's we used to say of Bulger, he's the 66-inch high Senate president. Same thing. We're just looking for some pictures, by the way, of for the new Dirty Rats Patreon. We're just looking for some pictures of Paulie McGonigal's boots. He used to wear boots because he too wanted to stand tall like Whitey did. We've got some pictures of the boots from when his body was dug up on Tinian Beach years after his murder by Whitey. 844-500-4242. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie or call their toll-free number, 800-876-1619. Do you know when people go to our website, HowieCarrShow.com, that's the most oftentimes they're looking for information about Super Beets. It's great. It's a great product. Wouldn't you agree, Taylor?
I love my Super Beets.
Are you out of Super Beets, or are you?
No, I'm not yet. Getting close, but I'm not out yet.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in the jar, and I'll eat some in the next hour when I'm just to show you how good it is. It's a great product, and I love it a lot. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie or call their toll-free number 800-876-1619. It's a great product. What's the poll question today, and what are the results thus far?
Do you feel bad for Susan Rice?
In case you haven't seen, she's got a new book out. She's on the she's on the talk show trail herself, and she says that when they told her, Susan, you're going to have to go out and defend the killings in Benghazi and go out there and just lie your ass off. She doesn't exactly put it that way, but the CIA gave her some bad information. I know that's a shock that the CIA would come up with bad information. And she says her mother told her, Susan, I think you're getting set up. Always listen to your mother when she tells you you're being set up by the deep state. That's the lesson here. And apparently it cost her job. She wanted to be the next Secretary of State after Hillary Clinton, but after she went out there and lied to the 5 various talk shows, the next Sunday after the Benghazi massacre, that was the end of her chance to be Secretary of State.
99% say they don't feel bad for Susan Rice.
I don't feel bad for her either.
And 508 says they love their Super Beats. It even helped lower their blood pressure.
There you go. They say they have medical clinical trials that show that it kind of opens you up. It kind of opens up your veins. I'll bring some in and just show you in a bit. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr. On average, a burglary occurs once every 23 seconds in the U.S. That's why SimpliSafe developed video verification technology that helps police get to your home up to 3.5 times faster. SimpliSafe can visually confirm that a break-in is happening, giving police all the information they need to get there faster and catch a criminal ASAP. Get a free shipping on your system and a 60-day money-back guarantee at simplysafehowie.com. That's simplysafehowie.com.
The reviews for Dirty Rats are in. People love this gripping and gory true crime podcast. But a lot of Dirty Rats fans want more. Become a Dirty Rats Patreon member. Just go to patreon.com/dirtyratspod. For only $4.99 a month, you'll get content like John Zip Connolly's full FBI training video, behind-the-scenes interviews with the Dirty Rats writers, producers, and narrators, and so much more. Patreon.com/dirtyratspod.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte because after the Obar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with an off. He was just there, as the Michel Casson, Patches Date said, he was just there. Without trousers, or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that we can work, that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox, okay? That's the lesson of that one. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow?
I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder.
Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Because I've destroyed her political career, and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out at Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Not going to be distracted by all his lies, his smears, his distortion. People know, everybody knows who Donald Trump is. They know me as well. None of these attacks are true, and I'm going to stay focused on your lives. That's what this election is about. You.
What is Trump saying about him that he hasn't said himself in that appearance before the Council on Foreign Relations? He's the one who said, you're going to fire that prosecutor or you're going to lose $1 billion. And the prosecutor was investigating his son's company, the company that was paying his son $50,000 or $83,000 a month. I mean, what is Trump saying that's untrue? What are the lies? It's just it really is amazing. And Biden said, let's play this cut 4. Play cut 4.
Perhaps most important, he believes there's nothing we can do about it. He believes he can and will get away with anything he does.
Be kind of like Obama.
When he said he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and get away with it. It's no joke. He's shooting holes in the Constitution, and we cannot let him get away with it.
So it's okay for Creepy Joe to go to Ukraine and threaten to take away $1 billion in U.S. aid unless they fire the prosecutor who's going after the company that's paying his coke-addled prostitute, patronizing, alcoholic, sleeping with his sister-in-law's son, sees hallucinations as he's driving through the desert in Nevada, leaves a crack pipe in his rental car. He's getting $50,000 a month, even though he has no experience in anything other than being a complete degenerate. That's okay. Joe Biden can threaten to take away $1 billion in aid from the country that's investigating the prosecutor, because the prosecutor, the attorney general, in effect, is investigating the company that's paying off his son. Joe Biden says there's nothing to this. His word as a Biden. 844-500-4242. Here's the Super Beats. It really is a great product. I feel I got a rush just having a couple of scoops of it. And it's not illegal either. It's not like Hunter Biden. It's not white powder. It's red powder. Tastes great too. 844-500-4242. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, what kind of dope are you smoking? Trump is a scumbag.
And Joe Biden isn't?
Yeah, Joe Biden never did anything wrong.
Really? That wasn't a shakedown? That wasn't a shakedown, David?
Well, you're the joker. Man's going to go down. His ship is sinking, and then
What?
he's go under the pole.
Yeah. Thanks, David. 844-500-4242. Jim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, boy, thanks for letting me follow that guy. Anyway, hey, you had me howling, Howie. I thought there was only a select group of us that knew the nickname Two Beer Gamir. I used to bartend at Pizzeria Uno on Harvard Street when I was at college.
Yeah.
And he literally would have 2 beers and would be legless leaving the place. And somebody said that Bob Gamir was picking up women at a bar. Can you please explain to your people that when you're caught at Fenway Park getting stabbed, you're not picking up women?
In the fence. I know.
In the fence.
Yeah. No, he was on some kind of one of these cruises. And then after he got off the cruise, he decided to go to the Fens and cruise. And that's where he got stabbed. And it was bad. He was a Notre Dame guy, though, Jim. He wasn't a bad guy. He was extremely talented. I don't know. People have forgotten that, I think. But if he could have, I don't know if it was saltpeter. If he could have taken a daily combination of saltpeter and antabuse and mixed it with his super beats, I think he would have. He could have been a Hall of Famer. Really, don't you think?
I couldn't believe you remember the nickname Two Beer Gamir. But whatever happened to Zipra Zeppa? Remember that sportscaster?
Right. Yeah, Zipra Zeppa was this early sportscaster when David Mugar bought Channel 7 off of RKO General. They were going to lose the license. They brought him in from St. Louis, and he predicted he made a wrong prediction on the Super Bowl once. And the team he predicted was going to win the Super Bowl. This was long before the Patriots were a good team. They lost badly, and so he came back out and he said, I made a bad prediction on the Super Bowl. This was at 11 o'clock sportscast. I have egg on my face. And then he took an egg. You don't remember this, Taylor. He took an egg, and he smashed it on his forehead. And the yolk was dripping down on his face. I think he went back to St. Louis. That's where he was from. He was from St. Louis, and I think he had a long and, I won't say distinguished, but he had a lengthy career in local sports in the St. Louis area, and I think he turned out okay. It turned out okay. Channel 7 turned out to be a blip on the screen for a lot of people, myself included. Thanks for the call, Jim. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Howie, love the show.
Thanks.
I just got a question. Why is it every time you play a sound clip of Pocahontas or Biden, it always sounds like there's 12 people in their crowd, but you hear one from Trump and there's nothing but a roar.
Well, that's what it's going to be like tomorrow. He's going out to Minneapolis tonight, and they're already lining up, and Antifa says they're going to stop him because they don't believe in the First Amendment, and their moms have told them that they can wear their nice masks and go out and make a big mess today at the rally. You're right, though. I mean, their crowds are non-existent, and Biden apparently is really fading out. He didn't raise much money compared to the other candidates in the most recent quarter. There are reports that his donors are very disappointed in his campaign. I mean, what kind of campaign does he have? His campaign is just, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Trump is worse than me. I mean, is that the way you get elected? 2 months ago, he was among independents. He was, I think, 15 points ahead of Trump. Now Trump is ahead of him. And between just his stumbles and his gaffes, and now this whole Ukraine thing and the impeachment disaster, Elizabeth Warren has fallen behind Trump too. And again, I don't put too much faith in any kind of polls, but these are lefty polls. These people are slipping away. And Bernie, you just can't be a credible candidate. If you're have a heart attack and you're holed up in Vermont trying to recover before the debate. Thanks for the call, John. Charlie, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Charlie.
Hey, Howie, what's going on?
Tell me.
Hey, just dumb curiosity. What do you think about the idea that maybe the Democrats are trying to get back at the Republicans for what they did to William Jefferson Clinton?
I think that's just too far into the past. I think they just hate they hate Trump. That's what it's all about. I don't think Clinton has anything to do with it. I mean, everybody knows Clinton was guilty, but he got away with it because he was a liberal, and they had to protect one of their own. I don't think this has anything to do with Clinton. Yes,
I will say that even though I know Bill Clinton was in the wrong,
yes,
and he committed perjury, I do understand why, if you were a big supporter of him, you would have been frustrated at that time. I understand feeling like, oh, come on, like let it go. I do get that now.
I remember they had this thing. They said, "How dare you impeach a president for committing perjury in a civil case?" Nobody ever goes to prison for committing perjury in a civil case. And it turned out, somebody did some research, it turned out there were over 100 people in prison for committing perjury in a civil case. And he was asked about his relations with people like Monica Lewinsky under the law that he had signed himself. It wasn't like this was some ancient law like the Logan Act. This was something that he had signed into law because they only thought it was going to be used against fat cat Republican businessmen. And then, as always happens, it turned around and bit them, just like abolishing the filibuster a few years back in the Senate. And so he was hoist on his own petard. Thanks for the call, Charlie. I just don't think it has anything to do with the Clintons. They're just out to get Trump, and they'll do anything they can. And the fact that they don't have anything is immaterial at this point. Their lunatic base, like that earlier caller, just demand that Trump be taken down. 844-500-4242. Why isn't anyone looking for Hunter? Because they don't look for their own kind. It's professional courtesy. These are Democrat operatives with press passes. Do you think if Donald Trump was accused of all these things, Donald Trump Jr., that they would be leaving him alone and not looking for him? They just indicted another person in the quote unquote intelligence community yesterday. It's all over TV now, or all over some channels. He was giving secrets, defense or intelligence community secrets to his girlfriend, who was a reporter. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's like that guy that worked for the Senate Intelligence Committee, the guy named Wolf. He was running around with this ugly 23-year-old reporter, young enough to be his granddaughter. And he was giving her stuff. At least they didn't indict him. They've indicted this guy. I think there's a new sheriff in town now with Bill Barr. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Car Guys. Purchasing a pre-owned car can be tricky, but not if you go through Bill Papa George. He is the absolute best in the business. Both Grace and I use the Car Guys, and recently my daughter Charlotte got a car from the Car Guys. Call 800-300-4600. That's 800-300-4600.
If you're in or near the financial red zone, that's 2 to 5 years from retirement, do you know how your nest egg would fare if the market had a major correction? Does your plan have too much risk? Are you being too conservative? It's time to stress test your retirement plan. Call Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates and ask for your retirement plan stress test. It's a $500 value, and it's yours at no cost. 800-989-9100. Find out where your plan is today. Maybe it's time to lock in those gains, reduce your risk, and make sure your portfolio has the diversification needed to weather the inevitable bear market. Kevin can help take the worry out of living in retirement. Call now for your no-cost or obligation retirement stress test, a $500 value. Call Kevin today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. And catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces, and so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
This is Paul in North Andover, Mass.
This is Luana in Lexington, Massachusetts.
This is Lauren in Augusta, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Now we hear reports that additional whistleblowers are coming forward. I don't know it for a fact, I just know what you know. Some with information about how he was pressuring Ukraine. Others with respect to pressure he may have put on the IRS about his taxes. And by the way, even Nixon released his taxes.
What did Obama do with Lois Lerner and the Tea Party? How many times did Lois Lerner invoke the Fifth Amendment when she was brought before Congress to discuss the violation of the rights of the people in the Tea Party? How many millions did the Tea Party get when they settled out of court after having their civil liberties violated, being persecuted, not prosecuted, persecuted by the Internal Revenue Service under the Obama-Biden administration? Should he really be talking about the Internal Revenue Service? 807 or 801 says you look a lot thinner on Newsmax than on Fox. Maybe because I'm wearing a lot more clothes on Fox. I'm wearing like a coat and a regular dress shirt on Fox as opposed to Newsmax. I'm more casually attired. Officer Mark says Biden is stinking up my area in Rochester, New Hampshire today. I'm just waiting for him to say how great it is to be back in Rochester, New York. Yeah, I'm sure it's coming. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David.
Hi, Howie. Gosh, this is just, try searching on the internet for news about the expanded investigation into the criminal wrongdoing and the start of the Russia Gate. Try looking for information in the mainstream media about possible lies by Mueller under oath. There's a complete vacuum when it comes to anything that possibly hints that Trump could be right. And then every article about Biden has, no matter where it comes from, seems to include an allegation that the claim is specious or a conspiracy theory. It's hard to imagine a more blatant bias that just keeps most Americans in the dark.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's nothing about. How about the fact that that they released a report yesterday? I mean, it's on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, but it's got a boring headline on it. That the FBI was totally abusing the surveillance rights of American citizens over the last, starting in 2015. And even when Admiral Rogers, as the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, tried to shut down all these people from investigating Republicans during the campaign season in 2016, they just continued doing it. I gotta read you that stuff. Actually, you should see the euphemisms that they use. That they may have misapplied the guidelines. No, they were cheating. They were absolutely cheating. They were violating the laws. It's just ridiculous. Oberlin College, by the way, is appealing the decision, the $44 million judgment that was cut to $25 million. They tried to run the bakery out of business for arresting some black students for shoplifting. They claimed it was racist. It was just shoplifting going on. And Oberlin College has hired high-powered D.C. lawyers to appeal. Do you know who the president of the chairman of the board of trustees of Oberlin College is? It's a guy who used to work for George Soros. Isn't that a coincidence? So now Oberlin has hired First Amendment lawyers. That's what they say they're going to be. That they were defending their students' First Amendment rights to make racist allegations against an innocent bakery. I just thought I'd mention that before. 844-500-4242. Let's see here. Cheryl, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
Thank you so much for everything you do. And it's always nice to see you on Fox News.
Thank you.
And the reason I'm calling is I was wondering, do you think that Trump is going to reverse his decision about pulling the Americans out of Syria?
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he is. There were only about 25 to 100 Americans, and they've been pulled back. I don't think he's going to change his mind. I don't know why he did it, really. Actually, nobody wants to have U.S. troops acting as basically as hostages or a tripwire to keep anybody else safe. But it seems like he could have tried to work out some kind of deal with the Islamist president of Turkey, who is not really our friend. I don't know what's going on now. They're saying that civilians have been killed in the Turkish invasion of northern Syria. It's a real mess. Thanks for the call, Cheryl. I'm Howie Carr. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy'd out.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing? Mr.
Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine...
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you...
When I raise money... Excuse me. I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. All right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question. Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried...
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show. And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother." John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history for what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Donald Trump has violated his oath of office, betrayed this nation, and committed impeachable acts. To preserve our Constitution, our democracy, our basic integrity, he should be impeached. It's no joke. And we cannot let him get away with it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The pressure on Trump is only going to increase. And with that pressure increases, he's only going to grow more volatile, more erratic, more self-serving, and more destructive.
You mean like this?
How is that not a conflict of interest?
It's not a conflict of interest. There's been no indication of any conflict of interest from Ukraine or anywhere else. Period. I'm not going to respond to that.
We'll make your case.
I'm not going to. Everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I mean, I would love to testify and give me a half hour to point out Biden Inc., 4 decades of crime. It's going to be easier than pointing out the 6 decades of mafia crime.
The Democrats know they can't win in 2020. They've already, through this whole hoax, knocked out their number one candidate, which was Joe Biden. I mean, they've literally taken out their front runner.
Unchained and unstoppable.
So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again.
I must confess that I was dumb. I, in the last month or two, just was more fatigued. And I should have listened to those symptoms.
Can you tell us, Senator, if we'll be seeing you publicly before the debate?
Yeah, I think you will. You're seeing me now.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, 844-500-4242. I just want to read just a couple of paragraphs from this Wall Street Journal story about the ruling on the FBI conducting tens of thousands of unauthorized NSA database queries. In other words, violating the law. Spying on American citizens. A story you will never see on CNN or MSNBC tonight.
Who do you think you are, Bill Barr, using the word spying on our program? Do you know the connotations that come behind the word spying?
Yes.
Well, then.
The intelligence community disclosed Tuesday, this is a very bloodless lead, that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court last year found that the FBI's pursuit of data, also known as spying on Americans ensnared in a warrantless internet surveillance program, warrantless, another word for which might be illegal. But I know we have the Patriot Act that's covered, but it's basically illegal. Intended to target foreign suspects, may have violated the law authorizing the program, as well as the Constitution's Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable searches. But I just want to mention how they worded this, the decision. Talk about euphemisms here. The FISC, that's the surveillance court, also concluded that the FBI's querying and minimization procedures as implemented were inconsistent with Section 702 and the Fourth Amendment. They were inconsistent with the Fourth Amendment. So that's like saying, if the Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. So if you were in prison and they decided to waterboard you or torture you or put bamboo shoots under your fingernails, that would be, I guess, not illegal or a crime. That would be inconsistent with the Eighth Amendment, right? Is that what they're saying? These incidents involve the instances in which personnel either misapplied or misunderstood the query standard. I misunderstood that it was against the law to rob a bank, and I just brought a gun into the bank and I just demanded some cash. I misapplied the statute. That the queries were not reasonably likely to return foreign intelligence information or evidence of a crime. Some of these instances involved queries concerning large numbers of individuals, but it was okay because they were only Republican individuals, members of the Tea Party. So there's no need, nothing to see here, folks. Move along. I just wanted to mention that before we moved on.
Most of the time when Republicans are being spied on, it's for their own good.
Yeah, don't you think this is a little bigger news than this ridiculous nonsense? Joe Biden, perhaps the most delusional man in America, saying that. I
have someone who I'm shortly going to give you who might be a runner-up, but continue.
Yeah. Someone says inconsistent with the Fourth Amendment. Is that anything like being unconstitutional? Is it anything, unreasonable search and seizure? Unreasonable search and seizure, that's kind of like breaking into your house without a warrant, isn't it? I mean, isn't that a crime?
Is this a constitutional crisis? Should we get Chuck Todd on the line?
I would say it's something like a constitutional crisis. But again, it involves Democrats doing it to Republicans. So it's okay.
Right. They're the government. They're here to help you.
Right.
Howard. I want to show you someone I think might be a little bit more delusional than Joe Biden. And that would be today's, there's two people today who are lacking in self-awareness. One is very obvious, Hillary Clinton saying she could beat Trump again. The other would be Cory Booker thinking that he could stand up in a showdown with Rudy Giuliani. Howie, I'm going to ask you, who do you think in a battle of wits would come more armed?
I think, as Andrew McCarthy said yesterday, he used to work for Rudy Giuliani. People tend to underestimate Rudy Giuliani, and he is in command of these facts that he has about Ukraine, about China, and about the mystery country, Romania.
And dare I say that Spartacus overestimates himself?
Yeah, he's a legend in his own mind.
Exactly. So let's play this. This is Cory Booker challenging Rudy. Cut 10.
I would savor the opportunity.
Savor. You would savor it.
And especially if it's done publicly. And I know Rudy Giuliani is from New York, very close to Broadway. He loves the theatrics. His behavior has been despicable. And the lies and the half-truths and the deception that he's been doing at the direction of this president and beyond is unbecoming.
He would savor it like the first bite of vegan lasagna.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, I'm not used to vegans using the word savor very often.
I would savor it like a nice tofu sub.
Yeah, I don't think about tofu or avocados being savored all
avocado
that much.
Brownies. That's what they do now. So Giuliani surprisingly also thinks he could take on Cory Booker. Let's have cut 3, Taylor, please. Cut 11, I'm sorry.
Well, we got
variety insults, Rudy.
I have to go in the arena with Spartacus? Gee, I don't know if I can handle it. I mean, he's a really tough guy. I don't know. Man, he really scares me. I mean, the guy was a terrible mayor. I was a mayor of a city. I turned it around. He was a mayor of a city, and they had more crime when he left than when he came in.
Wow.
That's another thing. There's another story you'll never see on CNN or MSNBC is what a disaster he was as the mayor of Newark. I mean, I think they have to start trucking in bottled water because of his marvelous stewardship of the public water supply in Newark, among many other things.
Howie, can you please stop? I have tears of rage thinking about what you're saying about Spartacus. So there's a lot of little feuds brewing. I know it's in the intro, but I do think it is worth repeating. Hillary Clinton thinks she can beat Trump again. When it comes to, you think, you lose in such a massive
repudiation.
It's hard not to have that be a moment of reflection for most sane people. She is as lacking in self-awareness as ever before, if not more so. It's almost like she's become more delusional as time passes. She hasn't really swallowed what happened and let it sink in. She's just completely gone denial.
She hasn't been reading her Julius Shakespeare, though, has she?
She may have been reading it, but with a little too much Chardonnay.
She has not learned that the fault sometimes, dear Brutus, is not in the stars, but in ourselves. That we got smoked in the Electoral College.
That we chose not to go to Wisconsin and
we sent Chelsea to Michigan.
I mean, I know we talk about this fairly often, but it's only because she hasn't gone away. She is in this world where she was such a great candidate. What did she say? The best candidate of all time? And she got completely screwed.
You can run the best campaign of all, and you still lose. Hillary, I would suggest perhaps you should get out Dan Hicks and the Hot Licks Greatest Hits. How can we miss you when you won't go away?
We really can't. There's another headline I found interesting. It says, NBA's ties with China worth billions now under strain. We don't normally talk about the NBA, but the reason I bring this up is because I think the NBA should probably try to hire. I know he's going to be teaching some law classes in the near future, but Hunter Biden is available. And if anyone knows how to get billions out of China, it's Hunter Biden. So this could be a nice little job opportunity, Hunter. I'm going to send it to you on your LinkedIn. Also, Howie.
Where is Hunter?
So I was talking.
Do we know where Hunter is?
I was talking to someone yesterday about this, and they said to me, what really aggravates me is this. It shows you another double standard with the press. If this were the child of Donald Trump.
Right. I just said that last hour. Yeah.
But here's the thing that really drives you crazy is that it's not just this would be a problem, but the press would be outside their door. They'd be getting paparazzi'd all the time. And we don't even know where this kid is.
It's like Mueller. It's like no one was ever outside Mueller's door as the special counsel investigating nothing. But Ken Starr, every day for 2 years in his driveway, they were out in front of his driveway.
Or how about even more pertinent was Roger Stone. The CNN got the heads up from a source, and they were out there at 2 a.m. while he was in his boxers.
Right.
Where are the press for Hunter Biden? I want to see where this guy, this law professor, is.
I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Orion Metal Exchange. For a free investing kit from Orion, text free kit to 484848. That's free kit to 484848.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papageorge, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
It's a common phrase, better safe than sorry. Of course, sometimes you need an actual safe to be safe, and you'll find the best at Dependable Lock Service in Nashua and Liberty Safe of New Hampshire in Northampton. Both locations carry Liberty Safes, and you'll be safe when you keep your guns and other valuables in the safe made with the best materials and craftsmanship here in the USA. Visit your Liberty Safe dealer located in Nashua or Northampton, New Hampshire, or online at libertysafenewhampshire.com to find the right safe for you.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying. I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on. That guy's got a serious weight problem. The phony people. But that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not. You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference. Because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, you know, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your
Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Runaway child, running wild. Better get back home where you belong. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Grace just had some.
Delish. I'm going to have another scoop right now.
Have another scoop.
I think you're only
right
supposed
there.
to have a little bit a day, but
Yeah.
it is really, really good stuff.
Get a free 30-day supply. Look at Grace eating it right now. Oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie or call their toll-free number 800-876-1619. All right. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you feel bad for Susan Rice?
No, I don't. She claims she lost the Secretary of State's job because they made her go out and lie on those 5 Sunday morning chat shows.
Only a single % of our respondents say they do feel bad.
Okay. Just someone says, I just tuned in. I hope I didn't miss the Matt Lauer stuff.
No, actually, that's funny you should say that because we're about to get to it right now. After I let everybody know that this news segment, Grace's News, is brought to you by our Patreon. If you've been a fan of the Dirty Rats, you need to go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/dirtyratspod. And you can log on and you can get a subscription and you can see things like the mug shots, the John Connolly FBI video. That's zip for all you Bostonians out there. There's so much stuff on there. Howie's going through a lot of pictures today, a lot of exhibits. There's behind the scenes stuff. We're going to do some videos. There's stuff you're never going to find anywhere else. So go to patreon.com/dirtyratspod.
We have pictures of the jaws of the murder victims where Stevie has pulled out all the teeth.
Yes, really gruesome stuff that if you're... I always find this too because I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. A lot of times you listen to these and you do want to see some of the stuff because you're listening, but there's not the visual component. This is where you can get the visual component and see it with your own eyes. We got Brandon Esquire back here. What's going on, Brandon?
I was just reviewing all of the stuff that's going to be coming into the Patreon. The bodies, the skulls, the crime scenes. I mean, this is the stuff that you want to see if you want the real behind-the-scenes Whitey Bulger act.
Brandon, do you have the stomach for this?
You better move fast because we've only got like 2,000 exhibits from the trial to get to.
Yes, exactly. So it's going to take you a long time.
If you sign up, don't worry about us running dry of material because it ain't going to happen.
It's like a fountain of content at all times. All right, so let's get to Matt Lauer. This is the big story of the day. A woman accuses Matt Lauer of rape. Former anchor denies claim. It's a really graphic story. A woman who worked at NBC News claimed that Matt Lauer raped her at a hotel while on assignment for the Sochi Olympics, an encounter the former Today Show host claimed was consensual. The claim outlined by Brooke Nevels in Ronan Farrow's book Catch and Kill puts a name and details behind the event that led to Lauer's firing by NBC in 2017. So basically, and I'm not...
She's a Johns Hopkins graduate, class of 2007. Not a classic beauty, but I'd say not guilty.
Yeah, this is what they're saying, or what Nevels is saying happened. She was saying she worked for Meredith Vieira in Sochi. She met her for drinks one night and Lauer joined them. Nevels said she had 6 shots of vodka and wound up going to Lauer's room. He pushed her onto the bed. Things happened that were in
sodomized her.
Yes, in her opinion, were non-consensual. She says she was too drunk to consent. And she said multiple times that she did not want it to happen. Now, what Lauer said in a statement, or his lawyer said, was that she was fully enthusiastic and a willing partner. At no time did she behave in a way that made it appear...
And Lauer went into graphic detail about what happened. And then she said that when they went back to New York after leaving the Olympics, she engaged in transactional sex with him, quote unquote. What does that mean, transactional sex? Does that mean he paid her? I don't know what that word means.
It's very, very strange. And this is right after, I will note, he had just released a video with one of his daughters where they were lip syncing and doing this.
That was weird.
Weird, haha, like trying to be normal again. And then literally a day or two after this comes out, we had known that this Ronan Farrow book was coming out for a while, Catch and Kill. I actually might get a copy of it. It looks like it's got a lot of...
Gory details.
Gory details.
By the
Thank
way,
you, Howie.
Bruce from the Mets says, Grace, I will vow for Patreon joined yesterday.
Aww.
I think it's a good, it's really a good feature, and I think people are going to really like it a lot.
Yeah, so Howie, what do you think for Matt Lauer? Like, obviously, it was already the end of the road for him, but I mean, is he going to be in legal trouble now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's got. It's too. I mean, again, what does transactional sex mean to you? What does that mean? What's your interpretation of that?
That means that my interpretation of that would be that you're having sex and you're getting something in return. Like she was having sex with him, and maybe he was giving her.
But she didn't. He says that she didn't work for the Today Show. She worked for Meredith Vieira, who hadn't worked for the Today Show for 10 years. So she was just doing So he had no control over her career at NBC, other than being like a guy who was making $10 million a year as the host of the Today Show. I don't know.
It seems like with a lot of these giggity goo guys that they do tend to have sex with people who are in their companies because there is a power dynamic to it.
By the way, he also denies he had a button on his desk. He flat out denied that in the statement. I'm surprised you haven't read the statement yet. It's pretty. Someone says transactional sex is pay for play. That's basically my interpretation of it.
Yeah, it means you get something and I get something out of it.
Right.
Like in The Office when Meredith had sex with the guy for steak coupons.
Quid pro quo. I'm Howie Carr. Fall in New England, known for its picturesque beauty and vibrant colors. I now can really appreciate the fall.